Good morning, church. We are growing in the Proverbs, and today we're going to finish observing Proverbs chapter 5. We're going to look at verses 15 down to 23. But let me just remind you, verses 1 through 6 was your false charm of the adulteress. 7 through 14 was your fatal choice. So if you choose her, what would happen? And 15 to 23, I've titled it Fulfilling Chastity, to kind of juxtapose the adulterous woman and kind of the negative side with what the Lord gives you for your positive side, this fulfilling chastity. But it might also be titled Your Final Condemnation. And the final condemnation is for taking that false charm and making that fatal choice. So you decide as we read through there, which would you want to focus on, the positive or the negative aspect? So let me read it for you, starting at verse 15. Drink water from your own cistern, flowing water from your own well. Should your spring be scattered abroad, streams of water in the streets? Let them be for yourself alone, and not for the stranger with you. Let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. A lovely deer, a graceful doe. Let her breasts fill you at all times with delight. Be intoxicated always in her love. Why should you be intoxicated, my son, with a forbidden woman, and embrace the bosom of an adulteress? For a man's ways are before the Lord, and the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all of his ways. The iniquity of the wicked ensnare him, and he is held fast in the cords of his sin. He dies for lack of discipline, and because of his great folly, he is led astray. Well, he starts off with the first three verses being a figurative understanding of what he's about to teach. And then he comes in and he teaches you some concrete things. And then he gives you the warning of judgment if you don't follow his ways. So let me do it figuratively first. Let's look at 15 again. Drink water from your own cistern and flowing water from your own well. The idea of this is that the cistern is something that you dug out. It was something that you had at home, and you would dig it out and you would collect rainwater, or if you were lucky enough, there was flowing water. There was a spring of water that you would find, and your cistern would fill up with water. And he says, so drink water from your own cistern. Don't go out and try to find somebody else's cistern. Find your own cistern and be satisfied with your own. And the water here is what's giving you life and sustenance and satisfaction all of your days. And so it's something you're going to dig and you're going to go back to over and over and over again. And it is going to satisfy you. And that cistern could be the one flowing water from your own well. It's a well that you dig that hits a spring and immediately begins to fill up. It's not going to be just caught with rainwater, but it's going to be fed by a spring. Should your spring be scattered abroad, streams of water in the street? Now imagine that you've got a well that is fed by a spring of water, and you take the water and you put it in buckets and you take it out to the street. You just take all of your water out there so that the cistern is empty now, and all the water is out, and anybody who passes is taking drinks from that water. This is not smart. This is not wise. Even in just listening to the figurative language of it, people would go, that's crazy. That's just crazy talk. Let it be for yourself alone and not for a stranger with you. So in other words, the well that you dig, the cistern that you have, Keep that water for yourself. That's not saying don't invite your friends over and let them drink. What it's saying is don't make it a public place where anybody wandering by is drinking out of your water. Don't do that. And then he makes it explicit in what he's about to say in 18 and 19. He says, let your fountain be blessed, and rejoice in the wife of your youth. So let your fountain be blessed. Let the fountain that gives you sustenance, that satisfies you, that is a joy to have, let it be blessed. And the blessing is the blessing that comes down from the Lord. Be blessed in this satisfaction, in this delight. How do you do that? You rejoice in the wife of your youth. You've married a woman, you've picked her, she's yours, you're hers, and you keep it that way. And as you rejoice in the love and the satisfaction, and ultimately the sexual satisfaction that you have with her, as you rejoice in that, you are being blessed by the Lord. And so it gets more graphic, PG-13 for sure, maybe more. A lovely deer, a graceful doe. Let her breasts fill you at all times with delight, and be intoxicated always in her love. Listen to those. I mean, I know the let her breasts fill you with delight is in there, and you're like, whoa, that's sensual language. And it is. And it's meant to be. The Lord is not afraid of the sexual relationship. He made it, and he made it for our pleasure, delight, and propagation of children, for sure. But the pleasure and the delight he put in there too. He could have just made it so that you could have children, but he didn't just make it so you could have children. He made it so you would delight and rejoice in it. He's not ashamed. He's not blushing when this is going on. And he says, let her breast fill you at all times with delight. So he's saying, go back to this often. Enjoy this often. This shouldn't be something you're just, going after maybe once a month. This is an often thing. And he puts it with water that comes from a well. How often do you need to drink? Then he's saying, satisfy yourself in this way with your wife, the wife of your youth, and be intoxicated in all times with her love. And the idea is so intoxicated that you're staggering. You're just kind of so infatuated with her that you can hardly stand up, that you're intoxicated with her love. And so find delight in her at all times, and be intoxicated always with her love. So drink deeply of this love that the Lord has given you, whether it be your husband or your wife. Be delighted in that, and find satisfaction, fulfillment, and even sustenance in the midst of it. And as you rejoice and enjoy what the Lord has given you in your marriage relationship, then it is a blessing that has come from the Lord. And it rejoice in the wife of your youth. Rejoice in the love of your husband. Why should you be intoxicated? So notice intoxicated is brought down now to this forbidden woman. Why should you be intoxicated, my son, with a forbidden woman, and embrace the bosom of an adulteress? So he says, enjoy this. This is fantastic. This is great. Why would you do that with somebody else? Why would you spread your water abroad? Why would you do that? And the question is left unanswered, except for what happens with the Lord. For a man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord, and he ponders all his steps. And he's looking at you as you enjoy your wife or your husband. He's looking at that and blessing that. He is blessing that. So his eyes are on that activity as something that he wants to bless. And then he says, for the man's ways are before the eyes of the Lord. He ponders all his paths, and the iniquity of the wicked will ensnare him. When he looks upon the man and the woman who are not married, tapping into this joy, this love that he has created for the marriage bed, then he looks at it as iniquity. And the wicked will be ensnared by that. Then he is held fast in the cords of his sin. He's kept. He's bound. He begins to be enslaved by what should be delight and freedom, becomes slavery. He's bound by its cords. And this is true. We see this all the time. He dies for lack of discipline, and because of his great folly, he is led astray. He dies for lack of discipline. Notice, it comes back to the discipline that you should listen to and be disciplined by the Lord, taught what is right, taught what is good and right, and what is bad, and stay away. But he doesn't. He dies for lack of it. And because of his great folly, he's led astray. The idea is he's intoxicated and just walking around, doesn't know where he's going, and he's led in the wrong way. Delight in the sexual pleasures of marriage, and do not be led astray by sexual enticement outside of it. The Lord isn't saying that the delight that you have right here, right now, whether it's in the marriage or out of the marriage, is the end result. The end result is a blessing that comes from the Lord in that marriage relationship, or the death that comes for outside. That's what we're seeing said here. Tomorrow we're going to interpret the whole proverb, and then Saturday we'll apply it to our lives. Have a good day, church.